Hello and welcome each and every one of you. With you today is me, Daiga, multilinguistic international coach therapist from DCTcentre, and joining me again is our lovely Morganne Rayne, Adept, visionary, spiritual guide, ceremonialist, and artist. Good morning, Morganne.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. Hot as heck, but so beautiful. The my squash are loving this weather. I went from last week when we were just having kind of weird, it couldn't get really warm. It was just it was weird. And everything was kind of like stagnant. But boy, once that heat came, like I have like squash that went from little teeny things to like whoa, and then my pumpkins are growing. So everything's appreciating the heat and the sun right now. So that's very good. I do love the summertime. It's a magnificent time to be alive.
Yes, it is. And weather is very interesting. We don't have very hot, I can't say we have very hot weather at the moment, but it's muggy, very muggy. It's about 20, 21 degrees, but very muggy. It's if you're walking, it's hardly any air to breathe.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking about by the sea because I live few minutes from sea.
Nice. Lovely.
Yeah, I love it. I love water.
I
I
bet.
just love water.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I live in the forest, but I live by a lake, so I do love the water too.
My friends always laughed. I will be happy even if I have some puddle somewhere, but I do need water. We have today Sandy joining us. Hello, can I ask questions for a reading, please? Thanks. Morgan, can Sandy, age AB, ask question for reading, please?
Sure. Let me get in that mode because it takes me a moment to just connect and get into that kind of mode. Usually, I don't do that for our shows because we just do random talking about what's going on in the world at this time, which I still would like to do that because we are in a new moon. This is our time to plant our seeds. It's time to get really clear, very, very clear upon what we want. So let me just get connected and let me see if something comes through for Sandy. Oh well, she wants to ask a question, or he. I don't know if it's he or she.
That's Sandy. Sandy, age AB. Hello, can I ask question for reading, please?
Yeah, let me
Yes,
get let,
please.
let me just get connected, okay? Okay, I'm ready now. All right, what's the
Uh,
question?
Sandy, what's the question? You haven't sent us question yet.
Let me just talk about the new moon while Sandy's figuring out the question, okay? Um, so we are in a new moon cycle right now after going through like just amazing energies and frequencies with the Lionsgate portal. And of course, we're on a trajectory now to get to 1111, which is really powerful energy. So there's just going to be like a groundswell, a ramping up of energies here, which is good. And you can see that playing out in the geopolitical realm. Um, and many things are shifting and changing, things are being revealed, things are being let go, things, and mostly it's about this hidden becoming revealed is very powerful right now. But I mean, we can see that in our world and we can see that in our political environment here in the US. Of course, I know not everyone listening is from the US. They're usually all over the world. But um, applies mostly to us, since we look at microcosms of a macrocosm. What is going on within us is going on in the world. What's going on in the world is going on within us. So there's this synchronicity of energies that are flowing. Now, when we become awake and aware, we're shifting our energies out of that 3D density and moving into a higher frequency. So those things don't mostly apply to us, except for this visioning part, except for this part of having the capacity to dream in the new energies, the new frequencies. And I call it dreaming in, or visioning in, or awakening in to the higher frequencies. And that's what we're called at this time to ramp up our frequencies like nobody's business. Like no matter what's going on in your life. So, okay, let me go back to the things that are hidden. So things about us that, mainly humans are like automatons a lot of the times. We just kind of act out of our rituals and our habits and our behaviors. We act out of those, and we don't usually stop and question or even think about why we do some of the things that we do or say what we say. But this is the time, and I know this is happening for me, is like something I'll say, and then all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, is that was that me? was was that my idea? Was that an original thought? And no, it wasn't. So I stop and I think about that. These are things that are kind of running our show, running our programming. So it's really good to ask self, is this mine? Is this mine? I should go look for it. I have a beautiful piece that's written about ancestors, which I'm going to be working with in my ancestors workshop, which I haven't even got it on the calendar yet. So I got to start doing that. But when we are operating out of our behaviors, our beliefs, our habits, then and we don't question why, we just keep doing it. We become an automaton. We're not a sovereign, brilliant creator. We're not acting out. We are, but we're not acting out of that. We're just acting out of this habitual, doing the same thing, same way every day. And it's like, that's not creating. that's that's just, accepting the mediocrity. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Accepting mediocrity. Nothing new, nothing changes, nothing. It's so there is so this time, let's go back to this time, is our opportunity to begin question those things, those hidden things that run us all the time. Why we do certain things in a certain way. It's our time to reveal that, question it, talk about it, talk to yourself. And this is also the time to really activate your inner child. Bring out the joy, bring out the playfulness. You were talking about water earlier, loving being by the water. When I watch my granddaughter by the water, it's sheer joy. You can't help but slip into that joy with her, right? So it's like you can look at water, and but there's a lot of things you can get from there. You can get contemplative, you can get pensive, you can get all kinds of emotions, but try to work into your inner child of that joyfulness and that. So we'll go back to scripture. I love it. Unless you become as a little child, you cannot enter into the kingdom. Okay, what does that heck does that mean, right? So what scripture is telling us that a child stays in that wonder, in that imagination, in that creativity where everything is possible. But as adults, we lose that imagination, we lose that creativity, and we get into that, what I was just talking about, that underlying current of habitual behavior and thinking and being, and we don't challenge that. So when we become as a little child, it's not to be childish like a 2-year-old temper tantrum. That's not it. It's to tap into that imagination, that imaging machine we got up there, imagination imaging machine we got, to be able to bring into our reality real creation, real creation. So we're not merely humans. We're not merely humans as we have been told. We are not merely humans. We are sacred, divine creations that are temporarily, and I temporarily in quotes and all caps, occupying a physical environment in order to have some experiences here and to grow and to connect. And some of us here are here to assist others. So this is a really wonderful, potent, powerful time. And I invite everyone to use the energies of this time to question your habits, question your behaviors, question those things, even the words that come out. If you find yourself, you say something quite a bit. I had my sister go, "Wow, mom said that," and I go, "Oh, that's where it's from, right?" It wasn't even mine; it was my mom's, and I just took it on. So we do that. So it's our time to question, and it's our time to move into our high creative self, which is the inner child. And if that inner child has wounding, which most of us do, then it's time to acknowledge her wounds or his wounds and help inner child with those wounds, but also encourage that inner aspect of you, that inner child aspect of you, to begin to imagine, create, play, um, become engaged with creation. So that's where we are, and really, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. So has I
Okay, Sandy sent a question. I
okay?
like to ask if you the man I like back at work very soon, please. There is an attraction between us, and I haven't seen him since early June this year. Anything, and that would be great. Thanks.
Oh, so this is regarding a relationship.
It's regarding her relationship. There is attraction between man and her, and she wants some information. Is there possible get some information for her about this man and their relationship?
Okay, I don't usually do things like this, but
I
let's.
know,
Uh,
I know.
it's so 3D. I'm sorry, Sandy. That's really 3D. um, it'd be hard pressed without speaking with Sandy about um, what her beliefs are, what she believes here. If she believes there's an obstruction between her and this man, then and so it is, right?
Uh,
If
she just respond. We are not dating, but there is an attraction. Don't know if I will see him again. LOL. It's okay.
Lovely. Well, I would say, what's your heart's desire, right? And move on your desire if that's what you feel called to do. Let me just I'm being called to douse it. So I don't usually do this either, but Sandy, this one's for you. Okay, so um, okay, may I douse for Sandy and her question regarding this attraction? Yes, I can. It's going to let me do that. Okay. So, regarding this attraction, let me ask this. The first question I'm asking, is this a mutual attraction? So, that might be important for Sandy to know if Sandy's feeling called or attracted to, is this person also feeling called and attracted to Sandy? So, is this a mutual attraction? And it is. It's a mutual attraction. All right. So Sandy would like to know if that this person of interest, will they see one another again? And I'm getting a yes.
So that means that will be something something happening in the future between two of you.
Yeah, well, that's up to people, right? You know, we can have attraction to a lot of things. I've been attracted to a lot of different guys. And thank God they didn't all show up for me.
Thank you very much for your kindness and big love heart.
Oh, she pulled the love card.
Love heart. Love
Oh,
heart.
oh, I see. Okay, you're so welcome, Sandy. And yeah, again, I'm going to go back to, we're attracted to a lot, right? Is it in our higher interest? So I would also ask Sandy to ask herself, because she has that, and we all do. We have that within us, that barometer that knows um, whether or not this is healthy for us. And this is good because, like what we were talking about with behaviors and habits, how we just go along in life, blah blah blah, and sometimes we think we're attracted to somebody, but it's part of that old egoic habitual system, right? And so it's important, as we are moving into this higher frequency, um, which we are, and everyone that is here, you are part of it. Just gonna say, if you found your way here, you're part of this lifting of the frequency, lifting of the veils, looking at what has been hidden. And today I was talking about habits and behaviors and things like that. Does that belong to you? Same thing with this attraction and relationship. Used to be, I was attracted to bad boys. I had a gift. I could find a bad boy in a Baptist church. I had a gift. I could find a bad boy anywhere I went. And it wasn't about okay, so this is so important to know what you believe the attractor is, right? So what it came down to, and what I realized after I'd been doing this for quite a few years of always attracting the bad boy, I went, oh my God, I keep attracting my father over and over and over and over again, because my dad was a very bad boy. He was a rambler, gambler, so handsome, dapper, always wore the suit and the cute hat and the cute mustache. And, he was a sight to behold. Well, that's what I was used to, right? That was a habit. That wasn't anything to do from my heart. When I realized that I was attracting people from the frequency that I grew up in and from my dad, when I became, see, that's that hidden thing. That's a hidden thing, right? When you become aware of it, that's when you can make the change. So for me, the change was, I don't want to attract my father. I don't, it's like, you got to make a decision, right? So there's that decision. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, if you don't want to do that, what do you want? Well, there's a novel question. What do I want? Right? How many people ask themselves, what do I want? What do I want? Not what my ancestry has dictated to me, not what the patterns of behavior in my family were, not what the family of origin patterns were. None of that. What do I want? And to know that, you got to know who you are. And so when we make that journey into looking for, calling out those habits and behaviors and ways of being that are just kind of automatic, that we don't think about, it's time to start thinking about that shit. It really is time to start thinking about, why do I do that? When I was, I've been preparing crab apple. We had the most incredible crab apple tree. It was huge, and it bore so much fruit this year. It literally split in half, and half of it just fell to the ground. There's another part that's kind of leaning over. We're going to try to save that part, and it's loaded with apples too. So there's part that fell on the ground. So we're trying to, collect all the apples, make jelly, whatever you want to do. So I'm in the kitchen with a friend of mine here, and we're cutting up the apples. And she said to me, why do you cut the apples that way? And because when I cut the apples, I cut them in half, I remove the stem, and I take out the where the flour was, because it's dirty right there, right? And I get in there, I clean it all out, and then I put the cleaned apple on the side. And she'd been watching me do this. She goes, why do you do that? And I said, well, that's the way my mom told me to do it.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'd never questioned that. Now, that's just a little thing, but it's just an example of, we do stuff and we don't even know why we do it until we sit and get curious about it. A lot of people, they look at their lives and they go, why am I always broke? Or why am I all, they got da 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 da. Ask the question, was that yours? Was that consciousness yours? Are you just accepting what came before you? So it's really important. And then if we start that brave journey of questioning ourselves and questioning those habits and behaviors, when we start then to bring out our inner child and employ that inner child to go have fun, to think new thoughts, what would that little child like to do? See, they're not stuck in, I can't. If you look at a little kid, they always can. It's trying to convince the parents to come on board with, and it's usually the parents that just say, no, you can't, or we can't, you can't, or I can't, or we can't, or we're broke, or, I don't have the money for that, or blah, 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 blah. So time to question all that. And it's time to decide, what do you want? And because we're now, new moon happened yesterday, but we're still in that energy. So I invite everyone to stay in that kind of that new moon, new energy. Sit down with yourself today and decide, look first for, what's the habits, the behaviors, all that I do that don't really work for me, or aren't bringing me a result that is lovely and delicious and happy and joyous. Just examine it, not with derision or upset, just as a just knowledge. So once you do that, then decide, bring out that inner child, invite her up, invite him up, and ask that child, what do you want? What do you want to do today? What do you want to think about today? What do you want to eat today? Bring out that inner child and let that inner child help lead you to joy and fun and play, because we get so serious about life. And right now, a lot of people are really serious and they're locked into fear and anxiousness and all of that right now, because that's what our world is kind of dishing out to us. This is the time we talk about fighting back. This is how we fight back. We just say, oh no, I'm going to be in joy today. I'm not going to participate in your fear. I'm not going to do it. That fear is not mine. Right. So it's for us to make that decision, because if we just let people keep making decisions for us, then we don't live a life fulfilled. We just come here and do the same thing all 3D low dimension beings do. And if that's your path, that's your path. That's not my path. And that's not most of the paths that are here that are participating with what we do. So
I wanted little bit input here because you talk about people going by, they like automatically doing what they've been programmed to do. Yeah, moms, dads, school, whatever. But another huge mistake what many people do is they programming for themselves what they don't want,
oh yeah.
and they telling out, I definitely don't want to this, I definitely don't want to that. And what's happening, that's exactly what
It's
you're getting.
exactly what happens to them, because the universe does not hear don't.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't hear it. So
Mm-hmm.
when you say I don't want, the universe hears I want.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't is just a resistance tool. The universe doesn't respond to don't. It just doesn't, because that's actually, that don't is like, I feel this so much, like, so when we're creating a thought plus a feeling equals a result. Okay, a thought, let's really think about this. A thought plus a feeling equals a result. That's basic 101 manifestation right there. Thought plus a feeling equals a result. So if you have a thought, I don't want da da da, fill in the blanks, in that is a feeling of lack, or whatever that feeling is. It just depends upon what it is. The thing is, you're resistant, right? Some people resist being in relationships. I don't want a relationship. Really? What is the don't? Because when you say it, what is it? What is the juice behind that? So when somebody says don't, the universe does not ever hear don't. So get that really clear. When you say don't, you're opening up the freaking door and inviting it in. Come on in. Do it to me some more. So clean up your language. That's a bad habit, saying that. That's a habit. So stop the habit. Get your language cleaned up. Get your thinking cleaned up. Get on board with your inner self, your inner childlike wonder. Get in touch with that. And see what happens in your life. See what happens in your life when you begin to really question what you think, really, and question what you feel, and ask if it's yours, and make a new decision. You can make a new decision anytime. Yeah.
Okay, there is more input from Sandy. Yeah, what she reply after everything. I haven't seen. She talks about this guy. Yeah, I haven't seen him for around 3 months. So was wondering. We first crossed paths a year ago. He has good energy, but don't know much about him. I trust that if he's far. For me, I trust that if he is for my highest good, we will cross paths again. My dad was unavailable, and I have attracted so many unavailable men in the past.
Yep.
So sounds about right.
And I mean, look, Sandy, this man is not present here. Looks like he might not be available too. But there's a couple of things going on. It's bringing up the awareness that, oh, my dad wasn't available. I attract unavailable men. Isn't that interesting? Hmm. What do I want? What do I really? I'd really like an available man. I, I'd like an event. So you begin to think, well, if I would like an available man, well, first of all, you want to ask, do I really want an available man? Do I really want that? Because sometimes we think we want something and we really don't. We don't want that. Maybe somebody told us we should have it, but maybe we don't. So question everything. It's good to question. Do I really want that? And so I love it that Sandy is seeing that pattern, that habit, because that habit
Yeah.
that does not work for Sandy. That doesn't work for anyone. It creates a lot of heartbreak. It just creates more of the same of the relationship you had with your dad. And yeah, I had to stop that. It's like, oh no, 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 we're not doing that anymore. So yeah.
And then we have another request from a guy, Isaac, who wants, if it's possible, for you to connect with his higher self or guide and maybe give him some messages, maybe from his past lives, maybe ancestors, whatever comes, if it's possible.
The first thing I'm getting very clear is Isaac is a very old soul. Um, I'm going to do something because I'm guided to do it for Isaac, which again, I don't do this very often either, but I happen to have a deck of cards on my table. That's actually from last week. I didn't clean up my table yet.
Don't tell anyone. We're not going to tell
I
anyone.
don't care. I'm so busy. I just, life is so good. I'm so busy. So things like, you know, cleaning up the table, just, it's not like dirty dishes. It's like notebooks and pens. And I got a few art brushes down here and an unfinished little painting. I don't
When it's
stop.
done, when it's done, you have to share with me. I love your paintings.
Oh, thank
I love
you.
your art.
Thank you. I don't know if I ever shared the one that I finished the day after my friend passed away.
No,
Um,
you
I
haven't.
ended up just, I left where she was, which she was about 3 hours from me, and came back home and then decided I was just going to go into the art studio. And I just pretty much locked myself in the art studio for a couple of days and processed what I was processing. And I ended up creating a magnificent piece of art. Anyway, I'll try to remember to send you a copy of that.
Yes, please. I love your art. Just love
Okay,
it.
so this card's for Isaac, and I am looking for guidance for Isaac. Oh, interesting. Okay, so where so the present moment now, what's coming through is all this divine feminine energy. So what is divine feminine energy? It's being open and receptive. It is the capacity to look within, to go deeper. This energy of the divine feminine, it's not about being a boy or a girl. So just kind of get that out of your head. There's divine masculine, divine feminine. It's just aspects of creation. So this divine feminine energy is that one that receives, that is open, that is available, that is receptive. Receptive is like one of the key words to receive. So so the time is calling right now for Isaac to be in that open position of receptivity. Now that's the time of now. Now from the past, where this energy is coming from, seems to be like a shift in a movement, like um, it's like the um, operating out of an old here it is again, that old an old belief system, right? An old, and and for me what I'm coming up with is like a patriarchal belief system, or I don't like to use the words toxic masculinity, because that's like these buzzwords these days that's
You can use the words he's bringing up, you can use
yeah,
them.
it's just that I don't like using it because it's like a contrived box that they like to throw men into, um, which I don't agree with that kind of languaging. But I'm going to use it here just because they have been, um, and women do this too out of toxic masculine energy, is we try to make things happen, force things to happen, make things work. We use this human will to drive us. And actually, what's behind that will that's driving, that's another question, right? So what's what I'm getting for Isaac is to let go of, like, the words right now that's coming really clear is let it go of this drive to make it happen. This is the time to sit in that quiet repose and allow it out of the clarity. Again, everything that I've been talking about today is important for Isaac here too, to question those patterns, those beliefs, those behaviors, those habits, um, and realize where they're coming from. Does that belong to you? Is that yours? Actually, I'm gonna do this because this is another. And I'm not finished with Isaac either. I'll finish with Isaac, then I'll pull up this piece. Um, the next piece on Isaac is what you're moving into is artistic expression. There's that inner child. There's that releasing creativity, because so I was going to show the cards. So this was the divine feminine in the present moment, right? And this is from the past, go now. So that's like that masculine energy that I was talking about. And then this is the what Isaac is moving into, artistic expression. But we can only get to that aspect of our being truly in that pure artistic expression, that creativity, when we step into our inner joy, our inner child, our inner bliss, when we step into that higher frequency. So I hope that helps Isaac a little bit. So I wanted to pull this up. Let me do this. Come up a couple of times, and I still want to have time for a meditation. So give me a moment here while I look this up. Okay, yeah. So this is part of this is coming from the work that I'm putting together for my Making Peace with the Ancestors. So, all right,
Can't wait to get to it.
I got it. All right. So, a question to ask is, what if it's not yours? So, just think about that. What if this is not mine? What if the problem you think is fundamental to who you are, your fatal character flaw, doesn't really belong to you? So these are two beautiful questions to ask yourself. What if it's not mine? And what if this problem that I think is fundamental to who I am, my character flaw, doesn't really belong to me? So, some beautiful ways to begin to challenge that would be, and I'm just going to list these things. They may not have anything to do with you, but they may. Or maybe it'll trigger, oh, wait a minute, I think this does belong to me, or this has been following me, or this is the way my mother was. Okay, so challenge it by going, this despair is not mine. This poverty is not mine. This addiction is not mine. This anger is not mine. This confusion is not mine. This depression is not mine. This loneliness is not mine. This insecurity is not mine. This lovelessness is not mine. This dissatisfaction is not mine. This struggle is not mine. These are all hand-me-downs. It's a bunch of stuff I got from someone who got it from someone who got it from someone else. It's the unlived life of an ancestor, the unprocessed, unresolved conflict of some unconscious forefather or foremother. And I have a weird, unconscious, sentimental attachment to continuing the legacy of the misery. When you wake up and realize you have no obligation to keep carrying this crap around, you become free to live a story of your choosing. Now that's important. And this is just what we've been talking about today. When you wake up and realize you have no obligation to keep carrying this crap around, that's why it's so important to look at, what are your habits? What are your behaviors? What do you do? My mom always did it that way. My dad did it that way. Well, that's the way my dad was. Whatever. When you wake up and realize you have no obligation to keep carrying this crap around, you become free to live a story of your choosing. Isn't that beautiful? Live a story of your choosing. Well, what are you going to choose? So that's my question. What you going to choose? If the legacy doesn't feel good, why carry it? If it's not mine and I don't love it, why pass it on? Notice what you're carrying. Notice how it feels. Then give yourself permission to let it go. Give yourself permission to put a new show on the road, one that you can actually enjoy. So I think it was good to read that kind of regurgitation of my thought processes, right? Because if we don't start questioning, then we're just going to keep creating a life that we don't want. So it might be a good time to start a meditation.
Yes. Only I working with few clients where there is so many cultural beliefs, yeah, that they believe that they have to stay in a marriage, unhappy marriage, just because they are married, they have kids, they have to stay in this marriage because that's their duty. That's it. Yeah, and life is not about happiness. Life is about duty. Yeah, and that's your duty.
That's your duty. Yep. And if that's what you accept, that's what you accept.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we accept something that maybe we're not happy or whatever, but if we can begin to accept it and choose happiness in the presence of it, that's one thing you can. you can assist with, right? If you can't change a situation because of culture or family or duty, then can you choose to be happy in the presence of it?
Yeah. Maybe. I think it's hard, but maybe it is possible.
Yeah.
I think it's time for our meditation.
Let's see where Source wants to lead us today. So invite everyone to come really present within yourself. We can accomplish this so beautifully just by taking a beautiful conscious breath in. Feel that breath. Feel it. Where do you feel it in your body? When you're breathing it in, where is it going? What are you feeling? And where does it land? Once you take that breath, where does it land in your body? Get conscious about that. And then let the breath go. But let it all go. Every bit of it. And be conscious of the emptiness. Take another breath in, filling yourself up and being really keenly aware to the breath, where it's, how it's going in, what does it feel like, where's it going, how's it expanding, and where does it land. Take a breath in, noticing where it lands. Did it expand for more than the last breath? And let that breath go. It's these very small things like a breath that can help you come back to the present moment. And it's so important to be in the present moment as opposed to living from the past or the future. Take a breath in. If we do not come to the present moment, create from the present moment, then we are creating our future from the past. Take a breath in. And from the past, and that even includes up to a moment ago, what are some behaviors? What are some habits? What are some beliefs that you may notice about yourself that you'd be willing to ask the question, is this mine? So choose one of those things. Everyone's got one. Choose one. And ask yourself, is this mine? And this isn't to assign blame to someone else. This isn't to accuse anyone else. This is getting really clear on, did you pick something up? Did you begin a habit or behavior? That's all. And if it's not yours, would you be willing to let it go? Ask yourself, am I willing to let this belief, this habit, this behavior, would I be willing to let it go? Doesn't mean I will let it go. I'm just asking, would you be willing to let it go? Take a breath in. And this choice you made about what you're examining here, and if you're willing to let it go, ask yourself, what do I get from this habit? What do I get from this behavior? What do I feel when I'm participating in this? Take a moment. Take a breath in. And so, what you get from it, are you willing to let that go? Are you willing to examine that what you get from it is feeding the behavior, is feeding the habits? Is this yours? Are you willing to let this go? Are you willing to let the feeling you get from it go? Just questions to ask yourself in examining how you automatically just be in the world may not be how you truly want. And so I'm going to ask him back to your present moment. And out of those things that from the past that you just really want to challenge now, that one thing that you chose to examine, ask yourself, what do I really want then? Take a breath in. And maybe you don't know what you want. And so this is a great time to invite up your inner child. That little one inside of you that remembered how to play and create and imagine. Take a moment and invite your inner child to play with you right now. Maybe this was the aspect of you that couldn't wait to get outside and run or swing or play in the trees or look for four-leaf clovers or count the clouds in the sky. That one, this is the one you want to bring forward. Because this is the aspect of you that is filled with imagining, imaging, having the capacity to see and feel and move into that with that seeing and that feeling. And even if it's just pretending for a while, to step into that energy. So invite your inner child up. And out of that one that you chose to take a look at, ask your inner child, does this belong to you? We want to get into the habit of asking these questions. Not to just blindly accept that our habits and our behaviors are just what we are. It's actually just what we decided to be. And the great news is we can decide something different. And so with your inner child and their realization about that one thing that you chose to examine and question, what would your inner child rather experience? So ask your inner child, what would you rather experience? And come back to the present moment with your inner child intact. And from the present moment and what your inner child would rather experience, take a future step. Take a step into the future and imagine what it might feel like and look like if you had an original thought, your desire, your way of being, not someone else's, not someone's recycled mishmash of bad behaviors, but you, your own. So just take a moment and future step yourself with your inner child into the future with that new behavior, that new idea. My inner child is saying, I am free to play. Maybe your inner child's doing the same thing. And then just take a beautiful breath back in and come back to the present moment. And this is just a beautiful exercise to offer anyone at any time when you are looking at your behaviors and your habits and your belief systems, to question, where did it come from? Does it belong to you? And if it doesn't, or even if it doesn't matter, do you choose it? Do you choose to continue it? What do you choose really right here in this moment? Take a breath in and let that breath go. And this is a beautiful time in the energies with this new moon in Leo, bringing up that lion heartedness, that strength, and that determination. A clean slate to create what it is you truly, your heart wants to create. What's your intentions? Have the courage to just hang out with that today and write them down. This is our divine opportunity right now to live from the present moment of creation, the present moment where our inner child is intact and in joy, in the present moment where our breath is available to us, in the present moment where our thinking is clear and current, this present moment. Take a breath in. And so this offering today is for all of us who are now creating this new world, this new golden age. This is where it starts. This is the work. This is the courage to face what is not yours and say no more. This is the integrity to know what it is you truly want and abide by that and form new habits of thinking and doing that support that. Be present. Be in the present moment. Breathe. Imagine. Play. And so it is. Amen.
Oh my God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Morganne. Thank you.
You're welcome
And
very much.
and obviously thank you, Creator, and all spirit guides and everybody who help us. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And on this note, please, I want to remind you to like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and from our hearts to yours, thank you for watching and God bless.